Hiya, welcome to another episode of Pickler the Podcast. We are your hosts, Stacie Townsend and John, the People's Champ Davison. John, we have a lot to talk about as usual, but I thought we kick today's episode off by maybe giving a little insight into what you do off the pickleball court. So tell us what keeps the People's Champ busy off the court.
Um, just interacting with all my fans takes up a lot of time. But I am a I'm not a what I guess you would call a pickleball pro by trade or tennis pro. I actually have a full-time job, which takes up a lot of my time. I'm a financial analyst, and don't ask me to do your taxes because I'm not good at them either. But I don't come from a tennis background, which a lot of your pro or high level pickleball players come from. Um, I played college soccer at UNF, North Florida, and then that lasted very short. I was a good bench warmer though, so. But I really liked being on the bench because I got all the perks with no responsibility, right? So I like that, and then but that only lasted 2 years. And then my princess ankles kind of took over and I kept hurting myself. And I mean, I could like basically walk straight and my ankles would just roll. So I don't know how I don't injure them more often, but not
Not
like
good for a
now.
soccer player.
I know. So that wasn't ideal. And then I went a little heavier into motorsports where I started racing. I raced Spec Miatas, which is a Mazda Miata, and um, I've been doing that since 2012. I did some other like form of racing called autocross before that, but I raced the high banks of Daytona, I've raced at Indianapolis, and some other tracks around, kind of more around the southeast. But yeah, that keeps me busy. I still do that. I have a race this weekend coming up in Sebring. So myself and Podcast Nick will be there and we'll be wheeling and dealing like Ricky Bobby. Um, so yeah, that's kind of
So
me.
well-rounded off the court, a numbers guy, but, doesn't sound like, you're too nerdy on the numbers. You got a lot going going on
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah. I know. I mean, I'm definitely a numbers guy for sure, but I don't like to just sit inside all day. So I like to get out and about. And I have
And how'd you find pickleball, John?
so I was overweight, and because like what happens like when you go on a you're playing college sports and then you were just eating nonstop. Like I was probably eating like I don't even know how many thousands of calories a day, but it was bad. And then when I got injured, I gained like 20 pounds and I stopped playing over just the course of like getting a desk job and all that. I got up to 265 pounds. And I like went into the doctor to get blood work done and they're like, "Yeah, you probably need to go on a diet." And I was like, "Oh, shoot," because they were like, "You can be on like pre-cholesterol medicine or high cholesterol." They're like, "You don't have it, but like with your family history, you might have it." So they like was gonna put me on medicine already, and I was like, "All right, I'm not doing that." So I like went and played tennis like very poorly on one of these tennis courts in Jarbo Park in Neptune Beach, where I'm at, and this lady Verna, she's the one that like introduced pickleball to Jacksonville. She basically hounded me to play pickleball. I just thought it was like some senior citizen game, right? But then she would not let me leave the park without trying. So then I tried it, and then it came back to my roommates. I was like, "Guys, you know that game all those old people play at Jarbo, and they take up all the tennis courts? It's pickleball, and it is super addicting." And then so that's how it started. I played with, the old ladies and got my butt kicked for several months. And then eventually just like started getting a little better. And then I lost like a bunch of weight. I went from like I was 205 pounds uh playing soccer. And granted I'm like 6'3", so I'm pretty big. But Yeah, then I went to 265, and then I went all the way back down to 200 after finding
Wow.
pickleball in, like, a year.
Wow.
So, it was, definitely really good for my health and also just, like, my time, like, I would just before that, I would do little racing simulators, like, all night and then, like, do nothing, I guess, really, so it, helped fill my time and then found me a sport that, like, I was able to be competitive in again,
Mhm.
and then I'd started taking it more seriously, I guess, like, 2019 was my first tournament, I believe, or, like, late 2018, and, I was playing, like, 4 or 5,
Mhm.
I think, and, I started paying for coaching and all this stuff, so I went down the rabbit hole, and, here I am, a
It's a
mid
common
a mid
it's
to, like, bottom level pro.
It's a common story though with, getting your butt kicked by all the old ladies. I was
Mm,
certainly there, and I always laugh. I did an interview once with Johnny Pickleball Andrews. Johnny
mhm.
goes by Johnny Pickleball, and he said the first time he played, it was like an older group got him on the court, and the woman that taught him told him or I guess every time she would hit a return, she would yell "pickleball" and run to the kitchen line. So,
Oh my god.
Jo and Johnny thought that was a rule. So for, like, the first few months he was playing, every time he hit a return, he would yell "pickleball" and run to the kitchen line, which I just thought was hilarious.
I'm
Uh
not surprised that he would do that.
Yes, but definitely a common story.
Yeah, I
So
mean, thank God because I don't know where I would be without it now. I feel like I would still be overweight. I mean, right now I weigh like 220 and I feel like I'm fat, right? So, but like back then I was like 265 and I didn't even really think I was, So it's like I was so glad to find pickleballs just because it, brought out that competitive nature in me and just helped me get in shape.
I think you can burn, about 600 calories an hour if you play pickleball, pretty aggressively, which
Yeah.
is pretty a good workout.
Oh yeah, and for me with my size, I burn like almost 1,000 in the summer. I almost burn like a
Yeah.
1,000 calories an hour, and then we'll play for like 2, 3 hours. So it's a lot. You can burn a lot of weight off just playing pickleball. So it's pretty awesome.
No, agreed. So let's talk about some of the happenings in the pickleball world, which we just had the first PPA pickleball tournament of the year with the PPA Desert Ridge
Hmm.
Open in Phoenix, Arizona at the JW Marriott out there. And probably my biggest takeaway from the tournament was the celebrity event with Michael Phelps and Larry Fitzgerald. What'd you think of that? Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did watch a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I I think when I had caught on to the event, it was when they were playing singles against the pros.
Hmm.
And I was kinda confused by that, but, I watched, like, a couple of the highlights, I think, when they were playing doubles,
Hmm.
and, I mean, you could see how, like, Larry Fitzgerald definitely plays,
Yes.
but, I mean, both freak athletes, so, they're gonna pick up stuff rather quickly. I don't think Phelps had very much, I don't think he had very much practice before that. I don't know, though.
Yeah, I think Lucy Kovalova was teaching him to get to the kitchen line so he can win some points during the match. But I thought it was really cool. It seemed like a really engaged crowd. I know I was all over my social media, so hopefully extra eyeballs with Michael Phelps following and Larry Fitzgerald's following, which I thought was great. And they made it fun. There was a little bit of a banter going back and forth. I know Larry Fitzgerald and Annalie Waters had a few lines going back and forth in that singles matchup. But I thought it was great to see. It was way better than the celebrity event that they held just a few months ago at the La Quinta, where they did the Franklin
Mhm.
celebrity, event. I thought this was, much more well done. So kudos to PPA for improving on, their idea.
Yeah, I, like, didn't even watch the other one. I saw,
Right.
like, the Instagram, video clip or something. I was like, "I didn't even know that happened because I thought it was going to happen, and then I think it was Randall Emmett putting it on, and then if you watch Bravo, there's some drama going on there. I'm forced to watch Bravo in this house, so, I'm
I
up to
know
date on the the Vanderpump Rules drama.
Yep.
So
And what John's alluding to is there was a breakup between the hosts for the first celebrity event. Randall and his,
yeah,
I think, what, fiance at the time had a breakup, which made the event seem to falter a little bit.
yeah, I would imagine it had some impact. But I mean, it still seems like Randall's still pretty invested in pickleball because now it looks like there's a documentary coming to Netflix, which I'm upset I didn't get the invite. So I mean, I'm still waiting for that. But I mean, it's good for pickleball for sure. So hopefully it's entertaining. That hopefully they put some people on there with some personality.
Well, there's still a chance, John, because I'm pretty sure they just started production. So maybe you will still get the call.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. That'd be cool though.
What else did you think about the event?
The event as a whole or the
Mhm.
celebrity stuff?
The event as a whole. So switching over to, I guess, the main draws with the pro players.
Um, so there was definitely some stream issues and like just production quality was not very good. Um, they had like nobody I don't think was telling uh Dave Fleming, how like touch how sensitive his mic was. And then, so they had like that sound thing, but then it also like every once in a while it was like this screeching noise and it was like, what is going on? And it would produce a better product. And I think with like the way the cameras were facing, it was looking into the sun, which I thought was strange because were they playing on a court that was going east west, and not north south?
Hmm.
So I was like, I was confused on the whole production quality itself, but hopefully they get that figured out for next time. But I thought that in terms of the play was pretty good because the results were, you had some people give some upsets, right? Like Ben losing to Frazier in the first or second round, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, J Dubs winning at J Dubs. um, and the Chuck Taylor and Alice Jones. I mean, Chuck Taylor in general just balled out. So it was good to see new talent take down some of the big dogs for sure. What about you?
No, I agree. I thought it was interesting. I was excited to watch Ben Johns and Annalie Waters team up. I thought it was interesting that they kind of faltered out of the gate,
Mm,
which was I guess duplicative of Ben's singles. Right? You just said he lost his first match to Dylan Frazier, so I was worried that that was going to happen again. But after they lost game one, I think they were down big in game two. Then they made it look easy the rest of the way through the bracket, all the way through the gold medal. So that, I think is telling because their partnership, it's first time out of the gate. I think it's only gonna get better and better.
hmm
Uh, but it will be interesting to see them go up against Matt Wright, Lucy Kovalova, who was the number one mixed doubles team coming out of last year. So that will be a major test for them. Hopefully, we'll see that matchup in the next tournament. And then on the women's side, we said it in the last episode, but Lucy Kovalova, Callie Smith, a lot of firepower on one side of the net in the women's draw, and they certainly showed that. So it'll be exciting to see if they're also a first time partnership. So it'll be interesting to see if they could build upon that. And again, I'd like to see them play the waters. I think that will be a lot of firefights, a lot of hands battles. It'll be interesting to see how they match up against one another.
So Ben and AL, it seemed like they got off to a rough start. The first game, they dropped the first set. I don't remember who it was to. Um, it was
It
to
was
AJ Kohler.
and Callie Smith. Yep.
And Callie Smith, that's right. I mean, Kohler's a beast, and so is Callie. But that you could definitely tell that they hadn't figured out what was working for them. I think Ben's probably used to playing with Simone, who would just kind of reset a lot of the balls from the midcourt, right? And then Ben would apply the pressure.
Hmm.
And I think AL also likes applying a lot of pressure. And so in the first game, I feel like you can tell that AL was still trying to, speed up a lot of balls from the midcourt, and I don't think it was working because I
Hmm.
think you saw later or like they switched it, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe AL um, played a little more conservative, and then they finally like found their groove and they kind of kept it the rest of the way. But I definitely feel like they were both just trying to put too much pressure, and it created like some out of positions and bad speed ups, right? The other person not like really ready for it. But I mean, it's a new partnership, so of course you're gonna have those issues. And then Callie and you said Callie and Lucy, first time partnership up against the Waters. And I mean, talk about a hard hitting team. Um, I mean, two hard hitting teams. Both. I mean, all four of those ladies can just really hit the ball hard. So, um, I mean, it was. I would have predicted the Waters would take it just based off them playing more together. But I mean, I think Callie and Lucy worked together pretty well. So,
No, I agree. And remember they faced Catherine and Jesse in the final, which
mhm.
is I think a totally different matchup than if Lucy and Callie play the Waters. So I'm excited to see if that changes the dynamic going looking forward. And I guess just to talk about JW Johnson a little bit more,
Mhm.
taking gold in the men's singles in both tours back to back, and on top of it, he got the bronze in the men's doubles. So JW as the non-contracted player can play and do whatever he wants in the pickleball world is really showing up, which is cool to see.
Yeah, and I just loved his interview at the end when Hannah Johns was like, "What do you have to say to all the fans here?" And JW was like, "Oh, all 20 of my fans." I
and,
was like, "Oh my god."
and I think Hannah asked him, "What does he do for to practice?" And he said, "I don't practice."
Yeah, he's like, "I don't practice singles,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
her
yeah,
face was just like shocked. I
yeah.
know that was, I mean, classic JW right there for you. I mean, he probably doesn't practice that much singles if I had to guess. I don't know, does he? You're in his area.
I actually talked to him about it a few days ago, and he doesn't practice singles that often just because I think it's harder to find good practice partners for singles generally.
Mhm.
It's easier, more people want to play doubles, but he is a natural, and I think he's going to have lots of these post win interviews where we'll get some more good nuggets out of JW.
Yeah, he's kind of like a very dry, but he definitely finds some ways to get some jokes in there. Like the weekend before in Boca when I think Dom asked JW if you know their mom could keep the sweep, and he's like,
Yeah.
"I don't know," or whatever he said. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
He does have a great personality. He just doesn't show it all the time on the live streams, but he's getting better. I do think he's getting better at these little interviews.
Well, somebody's teaching him how to do social media more, or he's just teaching himself because he
Mhm.
wasn't really on social media that much at all,
Right.
and now he's putting the questions up in his stories, which I asked him a question. Um, where I had beaten him and Mirsha a couple years ago in the Moneyball, and so I asked him. I was like, did that loss to me, give you the motivation to get better? And he goes, I'm not, he like responded to it. He's like, I'm not gonna lie. That day I almost like got rid of my paddle and went back to tennis. But it was like the weekend later we actually played each other again, and we took the first game off him and Goldberg, and then JW just does what he does, just does what he does, and then like beats us in Hilton Head. And then I think I played him another time and lost to him again. But yeah, that's my claim to fame is I beat JW before he started winning all these titles.
We'll have to keep track of the all-time win-loss record by the end of it though, John. I have a hard time thinking you're gonna come out on top of that one.
Oh, what? You have little faith in me. I've
I
been
have
I've
a
been
lot.
I've been playing well the last week. The 6 weeks before that, not so much. So, but you're only as good as your last day. And
That's
I
right.
played I played well yesterday, I think. So I'm pretty sure that along with my duper rating is a 5.4, which I didn't really think it was gonna be that high. I think I'm feeling on top of the world right now. I'm coming after J Dubs.
You heard it here first. So before we move on from the PPA, one question for you, circling back to the celebrity events, John.
Hmm.
If you were in charge of the celebrity event, who would you want to play with or against and why?
Shaquille O'Neal, hands down. Not only my favorite athlete of all time, and just like favorite, like one of my favorite people, but can you imagine like him at the kitchen line?
No.
You could just not get the ball. I mean, you can't even hit a dink to him because he can just reach in and just pop it at you, right? Like if I if we got Shaq some training, 100%, I would play with Shaquille O'Neal.
And he has such a great personality for pickleball. I've seen him, like, he's very active on social, and he
Mhm.
had that, reality TV show, I think, like, Versus Shaq or something along those
Mhm.
lines. He would be such a character, and I think, perfect for the pickleball culture. So I guess shout out to Shaquille O'Neal. I think he's in Florida too, right, John? If he ever
He's
wants
in Miami.
So if he wants to learn to play, the people's champ and I will show up, teach him to play, and have a good time.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I would definitely love to play with Shaq Daddy Diesel. Um, that would be fun for sure. What about you?
I have a totally a different end of the spectrum. I would pick, Prince Harry, and I
Mhm.
and that's because, have you ever heard of the Invictus Games that he puts on?
Maybe? I don't know. Tell me.
So I think, he puts on these Invictus Games for wounded war veterans, from across the whole world, and
Mhm.
I think pickleball would be awesome for that event. Get pickleball on the global scale. We can play wheelchair pickleball. I think it would be perfect. And then I also love Prince Harry. For those of you that don't know, I'm a dual citizen, so I'm also uh, a British citizen. So I like to give a shout out to the homeland, and, Prince Harry would be my pick for sure.
Okay. All right. Doesn't look like much of an athlete, but
But well connected and, will be a good sport.
okay, I got you. I mean, I'm going with Shaq. I'll take Shaq and I over you and Prince Harry all day.
Alright, maybe
I'll just put Shaq in the middle, and he could just spread his wingspan and just cover the whole court.
yeah, he would definitely push you out of the way. There might be some collisions, we'll have to get the meds out there.
I would lose
Battle
that battle.
Yeah, battle for the overhead, that would actually be quite funny.
Oh man, I would just get out of the way for sure because I think I would. Those are one of the few people I think that would hurt me.
Yeah, especially with a massive paddle in his hand, I can only imagine.
Oh geez.
So so let's turn to some big news that happened this week. Do you wanna talk about APP's big announcement, John?
Oh yeah. So they announced that they would be at Flushing Meadows, which is where the U.S. Open's held for tennis. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, I mean, it's really cool. Just, I mean, how can you get like like Indian Wells? This is another like really big venue, so it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. And they're definitely the APP is definitely saying, "Hey, we're here," and putting on really good events. So, um, I think it's cool. I don't know if I want to play or commentate or both. I don't know. I mean, I would like to do both, but I want to go, and I know Olivia wants to go play. So,
Well, you can sign up as of tonight, I believe, which is, hopefully there's enough spots to accommodate. I imagine there's gonna be a huge demand, people trying
yeah.
to sign up. So that will be, I think, a great event. I hope they fully commit, right? So one thing I think that makes Indian Wells so special is they fully commit. They turn, however many tennis courts into over 50 plus dedicated pickleball courts. They really try and plan it out, make it feel like a
Mhm.
grand event. And I hope they do the same at Flushing Meadows, right? Just pay to paint the courts and fully commit because I think that will really give it this different sense, playing there rather than just taping some tennis courts and not going that extra mile. So hopefully they do that. I know there's a lot of people involved. I read Ken's statement where he thanked everybody that helped make this happen. There was a whole slew of folks that are involved, and um, people that are also involved in the Indian Wells tournament. So hopefully everybody's got their A game going into May.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you. I hope that they do make a bunch of, permanent, they'll resurface them obviously, but like not the tape lines, right?
Mhm.
And make some really nice, beautiful courts. I hope that's the case. I'm sure that's what they're gonna do. Um, Especially going somewhere like that, I'm sure they will. But I mean, I'm pretty excited for it. I think it'll be pretty cool. Like the Indian Wells is just, I mean, that's like my favorite facility so far, just because there's no temporary courts, right?
Mhm.
And it's like that iconic area, and everything is done perfectly. It's like they have like a world class event transformed there, right? So hopefully, I'm sure they will do the exact same thing. Yeah, registration opened up an hour and a half ago, and there's already almost 300 people registered.
Wow.
So I think it will definitely sell out quick. So as soon as we're done with this, I'm gonna register without partners. So but I will register. Uh but Stacie, you wanna go?
I do wanna go. I was just gonna ask you if you wanted to maybe partner up. I'll give it a serious consideration, but maybe this will be my next tournament, although I know I've been,
Oh,
full stoppage on tournaments, but how can you say no to Flushing Meadows? This could be iconic.
I know. Well, I will add you immediately. You know that, Stacie. And we will take it by storm.
Maybe we could even get Podcast Dick to join us in New York for his first pickleball tournament debut.
Oh, we should sign them up in 2-5. 2-5 if they have it that low. I tell you what though, you better have some good spacing between courts, because when he throws the paddle, he might Jeff Warnick it and take somebody out.
We'll give him, some coaching before then, so that won't happen.
Yeah, yeah, we'll try. He's not the best student. Um, I think they have. I'm trying to see. Do they go down to 2-5 for tournaments?
I have seen tournaments that go down to 2-5, but I've also seen tournaments where they combine the 2-5 and 3-0 brackets. So we'll
Oh.
have to see what kind of interest there is in those divisions. But for anybody who's interested, Ken Herman, the visionary behind the APP tour, posted something today that I thought was interesting, and he basically gave tips if you want to do well. And
Mhm.
the three things he said were one, or do you want to even? Did you look? Did you see his post today, John?
I did see his post.
Okay,
Yes.
I was gonna see if you could guess it, but, 1 is New York City is known for its traffic, so make sure you
Mhm.
arrive early. 2, and I did not know this, but Flushing Meadows, I guess, is very close to LaGuardia Airport,
Mhm.
and in the past few years, the US Open tennis has been able to, divert the planes, but we don't have that same pull yet for the New
Mhm.
York City Open, so there'll be planes that you need to focus and ignore on court, and then
Mhm.
3, it's gonna be, hot, which we're used to being down here in Florida, but be sure to hydrate. So, come early, ignore things off the court, and hydrate, which I think are pretty good tips for any tournament, but I thought that was pretty cool that he put that out there.
Is it gonna be that hot though?
I think it's like a little bit of, touch and go in New York around
Mhm.
the summertime, right? Like, they do have those heat waves, but for us, I mean, it's a different we're coming
Yeah.
from Florida, it's always hot and humid.
Yeah. I feel like it's not gonna be that hot. But I mean, you know, I said that in California too when we went out there, and we all know that I full body cramped on day
Yep.
2. So maybe I should not go to any bars or anything. I haven't been in New York City.
You've never been?
So no, so I wanna go.
Oh, so yeah, double whammy. Get to go see all the sights and
I
then play some
know.
pickleball.
Even if I don't play, which I want to, I wanna, like, go explore. So, it'll be fun. It'll be fun for sure. And then obviously, yeah, I mean, New York parking and stuff, I did see there was, like, um, arrive early, probably just because they already know that people are just gonna be late to stuff, and they're just not going to stop for them, which I get, right?
Yeah, you have 10 minutes once your name's called to show up, I think
Yeah.
is the rule, so don't
So
miss
I
your
mean,
window.
yeah, if you're still in the taxi cab on the way there, uh, you're not going to make it.
And what do you
But,
think about this Melissa McCurley Cup that they're putting on?
I think it's. I mean, I think it's cool. It's like a 1 day tournament with senior pros playing in a doubles and mixed round robin format. Um, I'm guessing that came from they have like a senior pro council or something
Mhm.
like that. So maybe they just wanted something different. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, I mean, cool for Melissa McCurley too, right? I mean, you get a little tournament named after you. Um, I think it's interesting with the I don't know if she still owns pickleball tournaments now or if she's like completely bought out of that. I don't know, but like they got acquired with from Tom Dundon too, so it's like I don't know where that's going. I'm sure there's a contract in place, right? But I mean, you would know. You're a contract lawyer. I don't
No,
know how
you're
all
right.
that works.
I know it is interesting 'cause you'd think that with the deal with Tom Dundon, she'd be on the quote unquote PPA side of the fence, but
Mhm.
maybe it's a good sign in saying that they're gonna work together for the good of the sport and not totally shut the APP out of things. So maybe it's a sign of good faith or people working together behind the scenes. But I think it's wonderful that there's going to be 60 senior pros hopefully playing in this event, which is amazing. And it's going to be divided into Team East, Team West. So obviously, being in Florida, I'll probably be cheering on my Team East senior
Mhm.
pros, which are one of the captains is Mircha Murariu, who hopefully we'll have on as a guest. He can tell us more about this event in coming episodes. But I think it's really cool. Senior pros, they're the people that really built pickleball, right? They're the ones that went to all the tournaments before there was any
Or
money or before all
yeah.
this. Yeah. So I think that highlighting them, uh, I think most of the pickleball population, I know it's getting younger, but most of them are in the senior category, which is considered over 50, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I think it's awesome.
No, it's definitely cool. That'll be interesting. It's nice. I mean, it's just nice to see like a variety,
Hmm.
right? Especially at a big event like this, get something new. Um, just because people just get tired of seeing the same stuff every weekend. So
Hmm.
I think that's pretty cool. It makes me wish I was a senior pro. So I'm a little annoyed by that. I wish we had one just like that too. Definitely rooting for Team East. East Coast is gonna whoop up on them West Coast seniors. So, any you listen out there, Team East.
And maybe you'll be on the mic for it since you're going to be the new APP senior pro expert. So.
Oh yeah, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I will. I would love to. I was supposed to talk to Ken yesterday about you know tournaments coming up, and I didn't get to connect with him. But we'll see. We'll see.
Awesome.
I'm excited to go, and no matter what capacity, even if I just go just to go. So that'll be fun.
It'll be interesting also to hear, some of the tennis fanatics, right? How they view this event or getting to go there and play, right? Because as
Hmm.
a tennis player, I don't what are your chances of going there to Flushing Meadows and playing? 0 to none. I have no.
Yeah, very low.
So, as a pickleball player, you get to go and play. Like, how cool and how interesting, especially. And I didn't come from tennis, so I don't have that same appreciation. But I know a lot of people out
Hmm.
there do and are avid tennis fans, so it's probably gonna be a really cool thing for those folks.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure a lot of the former tennis players will be wanting to get a chance to play there.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna win gold there in every division I play, so they can all play for silver. But that's just I got something in store for all of them. You know, we'll see. I'll be lucky if I make it past 2 rounds. Um, I'm kidding.
Well,
We're winning the ship.
I was gonna say if I'm playing with you, we have at least can't lose our first game and go straight to the back draw. We gotta win a
I know.
couple in the.
I know. We got to make it on Billie Jean King Court.
Yep, that's right.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll pull some strings, see if we can get there first. So that way,
Oh,
even if we lose, we're still on it. You know what I mean?
there you go. I like where your head's at.
Of course.
So what do you think about this payout? I think it's the biggest APP payout at $125,000 total, and
Mhm.
they make a point in their statement to say there's no paid appearance fees hidden, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's, you know, and, calling out the PPA a little bit, right? Because the PPA just had 125K one, right? I believe at Mesa was 125K, but baked into that and are the appearance fees for the pros. And the APP does do a very good job of putting out, okay, this is how much you're gonna make if you
Mhm.
win bronze or whatever. I don't know if there's any like fine print that says you have to have 32 teams or whatever, but it's cool to see the transparency, right? Because then there's just no question. You go there, you get third, you know how much you're getting
Mhm.
or whatever. Um, so, I mean, it's definitely cool. I mean, I'm guessing the partnership with Intersport has definitely helped um, bring in more money, right? So,
Mhm.
hopefully that just keeps coming. Hopefully 125K in like 3 years is nothing.
I know. Well, it sounds like a lot of money, but once you split it up between
I know.
first through, I think they pay down to sixth in some divisions, and then you break it
Hmm.
up between singles, doubles, seniors, all of it. It doesn't, and then you split it because it's you and your partner. Uh, it's a fraction of the 125K.
But still, I mean, $10,000 for men's mixed and women's pro doubles for
Hmm.
first. That's
I know.
that's got to be one of the bigger purses, like for a gold.
I
I
think it's
I would
on
say out there.
par. Yeah, I think it's on par with nationals, who I think uh, historically has had the highest doubles
Hmm.
purses for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. I mean, I can't wait to split $10,000 with you, Stacy.
Me neither. All right. So
uh,
everybody out there, Flushing Meadows, if you want to go play in New York City at the APP New York City Open, make sure you sign up as soon as you hear my voice because otherwise your chances may be little to none.
yeah, definitely signing up after we get off this. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that. Just because it's already at like 300 people, which is insane. Um, Yeah, I mean, since I last said it, it's already gone up by 10 people, like 2 minutes
Wow.
ago. So,
Wow.
people are definitely, flooding into it. What else we got, Stace?
Well, before I forget, because I forgot on the last episode, I just want to give a little bit of a plug for our friends at From with Pickleball. They are giving all of our supporters 10% off. If you go, you may need a new paddle, new pair of shoes, whatever pickleball gear you need, head over to fromwithpickleball.com and use the code 10Pickler, which is Pickler. It's up on the screen if you're watching us on the video, 10Pickler. So thanks to Frommuth for giving that discount to all of our supporters. And I know a lot of people have been talking about this, John, but do we wanna hit on NML, in other words, no man's land pickleball?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
So,
it's definitely a hot topic with all the other podcasts out there, that's for sure. Um,
and for those of you that don't know, if any of you have watched Gossip Girl or maybe the Netflix, popular show Bridgerton, it is essentially a pickleball version of that in my mind. It's, an anonymous blog that talks about the happenings and gives a little dirt, and they are very in the know, which is pretty great. And they speak from an anonymous perspective, which people have different views on whether they should remain anonymous or reveal themselves. But think of it as a real life pickleball Gossip Girl or Bridgerton. And yeah, they have really interesting things to say, takes on things. I find their perspective refreshing because they kind of say what they think without holding back, but the anonymity gives them that shield to do that too. What are your thoughts on it, John?
I'm surprised that they haven't been ousted yet. I
Hmm.
was listening to one of the other podcasts with Thomas Shields. He seems to know who they are and has, I guess, blackmailed them in a way. I don't know, kidding or what, but it'll be interesting to see how long they come out because I have done something like that before in racing, um, with Podcast Nick, our producer here, and it eventually comes out. It eventually will come out, and it'll be interesting to see if when it does, if that person still continues to do it, and if they start to like tail off, right? Or they just own it, right? So like in the racing one that I have, right? We start off as anonymous and then it was kind of like NML, right? And you just call it like you see it and then we kind of just owned it, right? So it'll be interesting to see and then we were just known as those guys, right?
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see if they try to run it like, they just turn it into like barstool pickleball and just whenever it comes out, they just come out
Yeah.
with more content anyways, and they just don't care. But depending on who it is and how many people there are, I don't know if it's one person or two people, maybe even three people. But it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do when it comes out because it's not an if, it's a when.
Mhm.
I remember when they first came out, I was like looking up to see who owned the domain, but I
Mhm.
guess it's like the WordPress, it doesn't have like a domain owner. So, but that was like the first thing I did. And I have my hunch on one of them. But I did read something about like something in the comments on one of their posts where it's like it's almost good for the sport to have something like that, right? Just like sheer honesty. And if you get rid of like the anonymous, you know, shield, right?
Mhm.
Then they're just not going to be that really that media source anymore. But I don't know. Who do you think it is?
Well, I mean, I did like you looked up the who is, tried to find the domain
Mhm.
name, and I read the about. They have an about page where they kind of give some little details of who they are. For instance, one of them says they have a brief broadcast history, right? So they do give bits and pieces of themselves, and if somebody, I mean, I have not read every material or blog they've put out, but if you probably read all of it, you can probably piece a few things together and figure it out. But I honestly have no idea. But uh, man, I would love for somebody like the Dink or to get them on and reveal it. But I think you're
Mhm.
right. Maybe it gives us all something to talk about and guess about who it is. But they're certainly in the know,
Yeah.
uh, which I think is interesting. So they're very close to, I think, the top pros, if not the top pros themselves.
Well, I think if I were to guess, it can't be the person that's writing most of it is not a pro
Mhm.
because they just don't have the time to do the live blogs.
Right.
It's someone that goes to the tournaments, or if they're not there, they're like watching the stream all day long, and then they might have a pro that gives them information,
Mhm.
right? But I don't know. They came out hot and swinging, which I was like, "Ooh, this is spicy," because I almost did that, like, a little over a year ago. I almost started my own too, and then I
Mhm.
was like, I just didn't wanna be that, right? I thought about it, but it's definitely gonna be someone that's not a top level pro that's doing it, because a top level pro would not be able to do all the live blogs while, um playing all these tournaments, right? Like, playing all day long.
One of them could be though. I mean, I think that if you watch some of their live blogs, sometimes only one of them. They go by the name Slim and Gritty. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
only Gritty commentating.
I did notice that. I was looking at it today, and I do think, though, that it's the same, writing pattern,
Mhm.
right? Like, I don't think that they write differently. So it almost makes me think it might be one person,
I
you
see.
know? But, there could be somebody in the background too that's doing some of it. I don't know. I mean, you ask some pros and they probably don't like them very much, like Rob Nunnery has come out and said like just drop the anonymous, like, you know, like just own it. Because they can make opinions, but they're not like there's no repercussions on them. Some pros like it. Um, I I've talked to a couple, and some seem to think it's funny, right? And more pickleball stuff out there, the better.
Yeah.
But they've like ripped into Kyle a couple times, so I'm sure Kyle's not the biggest fan of them. Um, and they've ripped into Ben and Rob, and now Ben and Rob try to like do a little spin off and try to think that pretend that they did it, but there's no way it's Ben and Rob. Um, it's interesting. You could tell there's always favorites, right? So without giving too much, I think they definitely pick some people as favorites in a certain area of the country. I will say that. I'll let everybody else do the homework on it.
Well, we'll be watching it for sure. At the very least, it's entertaining to talk about or speculate who it could be, and I enjoy reading their stuff because it's a different point of view, and it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to keep up that savageness that they came out as, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like you can only be creative like so much, without like getting redundant.
Right.
And unless there's like new things like really happening, you're not going to get that all that content, right? So I mean, you look at other sports like the NFL, right? Like they have so much going on, right? So it's so easy to like come up with fresh content every weekend. But in pickleball, it's tough, right? Because it's like the same people
Mm.
in the spotlight. So it's like, you know, they definitely toned it down a little bit, I think. I don't
No,
know.
I agree. I agree. I think we may know someone on the NFL side too that keeps up
Yeah.
with the fresh content. So maybe we can connect if NML wants to some advice on how to keep fresh content, we can connect them.
Well, I would say that person is way funnier than NML.
So what else is going on in the pickleball world or what we have to look forward to?
You can look forward to me just winning probably quite a few tournaments this year. I plan on making a run. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't even know how many
When
tournaments
is
I'm
your
gonna be playing.
when is your next tournament?
I'm playing the PPA in Tampa in men's doubles with a guy that is kind of new to pickleball. So we'll see how that goes. He's a good player, like a really good athlete, really good at singles. Gabe Lucas. He played his first tournament in singles at the World Pickleball Open, and I got a couple wins in singles. But so we'll see how that goes for doubles at the Simone PPA tournament
Is that
in
one in Tampa or Port St. Lucie?
Port St. Lucie.
Okay, Port St. Lucie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they switched to the East Coast of Florida.
yeah. How far are you from Port St. Lucie?
About an hour. So I'll come
Okay.
cheer you on. I'll be your fan.
Okay. Cool. Cool. You'll be my one fan.
Yep.
No. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'd like to do the New York City one for sure. I'm signed up for like every single Southeast APP, but like I don't have partners for everything, and I
Mhm.
people ask me, and then it's like, oh shoot, I can't go to that, or like I don't know, I'm just not training enough, right? So it's like, do I play? Do I not play? So it's like I got to figure out in the next couple weeks, like how much time I want to invest in it, right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I understand. And recreational play is so much fun, so it's hard to,
Yeah,
go
to
pay to play.
focus and drill and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like I'm just having fun just playing.
Yep.
I just want to just play with like whoever I want to play with. So I'm definitely not putting in like the reps needed. So hopefully I'll change that around. Maybe I don't know.
More to come.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, looking forward to the next PPA again back in Arizona, and then we have, their first indoor PPA in Minnesota the weekend after, along with the APP, so excited to see the pros
Hmm.
get back out on the court. For me personally, maybe this New York City one, we'll have to talk off the broadcast here, see what we can make happen. But yeah, just enjoying the recreational play, enjoying following all the pickleball, reading all the blogs, following all the action. And I think it's just going to really unfold this year. I think pickleball is going to, the numbers, I'm looking forward to seeing those numbers come out in February. I think everybody's projecting something above 5 million.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think the sport's just going to, 2022 is going to be a good year for the sport. And we're excited to go along for the ride.
Oh, yeah, it's just gonna explode this year, so I'm excited to see it.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, should we maybe take it out for the day, John?
I think so.
Before we do, just a reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can make sure you follow all the action here on Pickler the Podcast. And if you haven't subscribed to Pickler's Pickleball newsletter, it's free. So go ahead and go on over to thepickler.com and sign on up for that. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Perfect. Alright, Stacy. Pickler out.